A critical SQL injection flaw in Drupal Core is being actively exploited, while a maximum severity vulnerability in the LiteSpeed cPanel plugin allows attackers to execute arbitrary scripts with root privileges. This is your cybersecurity briefing for May 23, 2026. Coming up, we'll cover a critical Drupal SQL injection flaw that's been added to SYS's known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. A severe LiteSpeed cPanel plugin vulnerability has been discovered, allowing root script execution. Laravel-Lang packages have been compromised, leading to credential theft. AI tools have uncovered over 10,000 severe vulnerabilities in software. A supply chain attack has infected 8 Packagist packages, and NPM is enhancing security with two-factor authentication for package publishing. Let's begin with the critical SQL injection flaw in Drupal Core. A critical SQL injection vulnerability in Drupal Core, identified as CV 2026-9082, is now being actively exploited across the globe, prompting its inclusion in SYS's known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. This flaw, which has a CVSS score of 6.5, affects all supported versions of Drupal Core, including the latest releases. Just days after Drupal issued patches for this vulnerability, evidence of exploitation has surfaced. The vulnerability allows for privilege escalation and remote code execution through specially crafted requests sent via the Database Abstraction API. This means that attackers could potentially gain unauthorized access to sensitive data or even take control of affected systems. Recent reports from Imperva, a cybersecurity firm owned by Thales, indicate that over 15,000 attack attempts have been detected, targeting nearly 6,000 individual sites across 65 countries. Notably, the majority of these attacks have been focused on gaming and financial services websites, which together account for about half of all observed attempts. Initial activity appears to be largely reconnaissance, with attackers seeking to identify vulnerable Drupal sites that utilize PostgreSQL. However, given the nature of the vulnerability, successful exploitation could quickly escalate to data extraction or privilege escalation. Drupal has made patches available for various versions, including Drupal November 3rd, 10, November 2nd, 12, November 1st, 10, and earlier iterations down to Drupal 8.9, which requires manual patching. Federal civilian executive branch agencies have been advised to implement these fixes by May 27, 2026, to ensure optimal protection against potential attacks. This situation serves as a reminder of the ongoing risks associated with widely used content management systems like Drupal. The rapid emergence of exploit attempts following the release of patches highlights the need for organizations to maintain up-to-date software and to monitor their systems for unusual activity. As this vulnerability continues to be exploited, defenders should be particularly aware of the sectors under attack and take proactive measures to secure their environments. With the current focus on reconnaissance, it remains critical for organizations to assess their exposure and ensure that all necessary patches are applied without delay. As the situation develops, the potential for more severe exploitation looms, making it imperative for site administrators to act promptly. In other news, a critical vulnerability in the LiteSpeed user-end cPanel plugin has been discovered, allowing attackers to execute arbitrary scripts with root privileges. This flaw, tracked as CV 2026-48172, boasts a maximum CVSS score of 10.0, indicating its severe nature. The vulnerability stems from an incorrect privilege assignment within the plugin, specifically affecting versions 2.3 through 2.4.4. LiteSpeed confirmed that any cPanel user, including those with compromised accounts, can exploit the lsws.redisable function to gain elevated permissions. This oversight poses a significant risk, as it opens the door for attackers to run malicious scripts on affected servers, potentially leading to data breaches or system takeovers. LiteSpeed has acknowledged that this vulnerability is currently being exploited in the wild, although they have not disclosed specific details about the ongoing attacks. Security researcher David Stridham is credited with identifying and reporting this critical issue. For those concerned about potential exploitation, LiteSpeed has provided a command to check for indicators of compromise. By running the command grep cPanel_func equals redisable /var/cpanel/local/cPanel/logs/users can determine if their systems have been targeted. If the command returns any output, it's crucial to scrutinize the associated IP addresses for legitimacy and take steps to block any unauthorized access. In response to this vulnerability, LiteSpeed has released an updated version of a cPanel plugin, version 2.4.5, which addresses this flaw. Furthermore, they have patched additional potential attack vectors in their WHM plugin, now bundled with the cPanel update in version 5.3.1.0. Users are strongly encouraged to upgrade to this latest version to mitigate the risks associated with the vulnerability. For those unable to apply the update immediately, LiteSpeed advises uninstalling the user-end plugin using a specific command to prevent exploitation. This incident comes on the heels of another significant vulnerability in cPanel CV 2026-41940, which was recently exploited by threat actors to deploy variants of the Mirai botnet and a ransomware strain known as SARI. The rapid succession of these vulnerabilities raises concerns about the security posture of cPanel and its associated plugins, highlighting the need for continuous monitoring and timely updates. As organizations assess their exposure, the imperative remains clear. Immediate action is necessary to safeguard systems against these evolving threats. The question now is how many users will heed the warning and update their systems before they become victims of exploitation. Switching gears, our third story today reveals a significant software supply chain attack targeting multiple PHP packages from Laravel-Lang, designed to steal credentials on a massive scale. Researchers have identified that the compromised packages include Laravel-Lang/Lang, Laravel-Lang/HTTP statuses, and several others, with over 700 versions affected. The attack appears to be a systematic compromise of the Laravel-Lang organization's release process. Researchers at Socket noted that the rapid publication of malicious tags on May 22nd and 23rd suggests that this was not a single incident, but rather a coordinated effort to exploit the package repository. The core malicious component is embedded in a file named src/helpers.php, which has been added to the autoload configuration of each affected package. This means that any Laravel application that utilizes these packages will automatically execute the malicious code upon startup, without any specific trigger required. The implications of this attack are alarming. The malicious script is designed to fingerprint the infected host and connect to an external server, flipboxstudio.info, to download a PHP-based payload capable of running on Windows, Linux, and macOS systems. This versatility expands the attack's potential reach, as it can target a wide array of environments. Once executed, the payload is capable of harvesting a comprehensive range of sensitive data. This includes cloud credentials from major providers like Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure, authentication tokens from platforms such as GitHub and Jenkins, and even cryptocurrency wallet information. Notably, the malware can also extract browser histories and saved login data from popular web browsers, leveraging techniques to bypass built-in security measures. Aikido Securities analysis indicates that the payload is a complex 5,900-line PHP credential stealer, organized into 15 specialized modules. After collecting the data, it encrypts the information using AES 256 before exfiltrating it to the attacker's server and deleting itself to minimize detection risks. This sophisticated approach not only highlights the technical prowess of the attackers, but also raises serious concerns about the security of widely used open-source packages. For developers and organizations utilizing Laravel-Lang packages, it's crucial to review dependencies and ensure that any affected packages are removed or updated. The Laravel community and package maintainers will need to address this breach comprehensively to restore trust in their ecosystem. As the investigation unfolds, the security landscape for PHP applications may need to adapt to prevent similar incidents in the future. Switching gears, Anthropic has announced that its Project Glasswing has identified over 10,000 high or critical severity vulnerabilities in essential software since its launch just last month. This initiative aims to bolster cybersecurity by leveraging the capabilities of its AI model, Claude Mythos Preview, which autonomously detects vulnerabilities in widely used software before they can be exploited by malicious actors. Of the vulnerabilities discovered, 6,202 have been categorized as high or critical severity flaws, impacting more than 1,000 open-source projects. After further analysis, 1,726 of these were confirmed as true positives, with 1,094 assessed as high or critical severity. Notably, one severe flaw identified is in Wolf SSL, designated as CV 2026-5194, which has a CVSS score of 9.1. This vulnerability could potentially allow attackers to forge certificates, posing a significant risk by enabling them to impersonate legitimate services. The implications of this discovery are profound. Anthropic emphasizes the disparity between the ease of finding such vulnerabilities and the complexity of addressing them, marking a significant challenge for the cybersecurity field. The company has reported that its efforts have already led to 97 vulnerabilities being patched upstream and 88 advisories issued, showcasing the immediate impact of their findings. This development comes at a time when software vendors are experiencing an unprecedented surge in patch releases, driven largely by AI-assisted vulnerability discovery. Microsoft has indicated that it expects an increase in the number of patches released monthly, reflecting a broader trend in the industry. The autonomous security platform XBOW has praised Mythos Preview for its enhanced ability to identify vulnerability candidates and analyze source code with a security-focused mindset. Moreover, the utility of Mythos Preview extends beyond vulnerability detection. In a practical application, a financial institution partnered with Project Glasswing successfully thwarted a fraudulent $1.5 million wire transfer after detecting a breach involving a customer's email account and subsequent spoofing attempts. As AI models like Mythos Preview become more prevalent, Anthropic urges software developers to accelerate their patch cycles and prioritize security fixes. They recommend that network defenders implement strategies such as hardening default configurations, enforcing multi-factor authentication, and maintaining comprehensive logs for effective detection and response. To further support cybersecurity professionals, Anthropic has introduced a cyber verification program, allowing security experts to utilize its models for legitimate purposes like vulnerability research and penetration testing. However, concerns about potential misuse mean that these models are not yet publicly available. As the landscape of AI-driven cybersecurity evolves, organizations must act decisively to enhance their defenses. With the potential for similar models to become widely accessible, the call for improved patch management and security practices has never been more urgent. The question remains, how soon will organizations adapt to these emerging threats and the tools designed to combat them? Switching gears, a coordinated supply chain attack has compromised 8 packages on Packagist, raising alarms in the developer community. This incident highlights a sophisticated method where attackers inserted malicious code into the package.json files, rather than the more commonly scrutinized composer.json files. This cross-ecosystem approach allows the malware to evade detection by developers and security teams who may focus solely on PHP dependencies. The affected packages include popular libraries such as Moritz, Sour, 13/Silverstripe CMS theme, and Crozier Source/CrozierLibBase, among others. Each of these packages contained a post-install script designed to download a Linux binary from a now inaccessible GitHub releases URL. The script saves this binary to this /tmp/sshd directory, modifies its permissions to make it executable for all users, and then runs it in the background. What makes this attack particularly concerning is the scale of its potential reach. Analysis from Socket indicates that references to the malicious payload have been identified across 777 files on GitHub, suggesting a broader campaign may be underway. In some cases, the payload was integrated into GitHub workflow files, demonstrating the attacker's versatility in execution methods. This multifaceted approach complicates detection and response efforts. While the specific nature of the downloaded binary remains uncertain, the implications of its existence are significant. The malware, dubbed GVFS network, is named after a GNOME virtual file system daemon, which adds a layer of irony given its potential role in managing network shares. Even without the second stage binary, the initial installer poses a serious risk, providing remote code execution capabilities during installation or build processes. It also attempts to conceal its activities by disabling TLS verification and suppressing error messages. The removal of the malicious packages from Packagist is a critical step, but it raises questions about how many systems may have already been compromised. Developers using these packages should conduct thorough audits of their environments to ensure that no remnants of the malicious code remain. Additionally, organizations should consider implementing stricter monitoring and validation of dependencies, especially when dealing with cross-ecosystem tools. As the cybersecurity landscape continues to evolve, this incident serves as a reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in supply chain dependencies. The community must remain proactive in identifying and mitigating these threats to safeguard their projects. With a GitHub account associated with a malicious payload now unavailable, the full scope of this attack remains a pressing concern for developers and security professionals alike. And finally, GitHub has introduced significant enhancements to NPM security, implementing two-factor authentication for package publishing. This new feature, called staged publishing, is designed to bolster the integrity of the software supply chain, a critical area that has seen a rise in attacks recently. With staged publishing, package maintainers must now approve a release before it becomes publicly available. This process requires them to pass a two-factor authentication challenge, ensuring that only authorized individuals can push updates to the NPM registry. GitHub describes this as a way to provide proof of presence for every publish, which is especially important as many packages are now published through automated CI/CD workflows. To utilize this feature, maintainers must meet specific criteria. They need publish access to the package. The package must already exist in the NPM registry, and 2FA must be enabled on their account. Once these conditions are met, developers can submit their packages to a staging area using the command npm stage publish. This command is available in npm CLI version 11.15.0 or newer. GitHub also recommends pairing stage publishing with trusted publishing using OpenID Connect for added security. In addition to the stage publishing feature, GitHub has rolled out 3 new install source flags. These flags allow developers to control installations from various sources, such as local file paths, remote URLs, and local directories. This explicit allow-list approach helps mitigate risks associated with non-registry install sources, which have become common targets for attackers. This move comes at a time when software supply chain attacks are on the rise, with groups like TeamPCP engaging in widespread package poisoning campaigns. By implementing these new security measures, GitHub aims to protect developers and users from the increasing threat of malicious packages infiltrating the NPM ecosystem. As organizations increasingly rely on open-source software, the need for robust security measures becomes paramount. GitHub's updates not only enhance the security posture of NPM, but also set a precedent for other package managers to follow. The focus on human oversight in the publishing process could serve as a model for improving security across various platforms. As the cybersecurity community continues to grapple with the implications of these supply chain attacks, developers should consider adopting these new NPM features to safeguard their projects. With the rapid evolution of threats, ensuring that only verified packages are installed is a crucial step in maintaining software integrity. Today's news highlights the ongoing challenges in software security, with critical vulnerabilities being exploited and new threats emerging across various platforms. Tomorrow, keep an eye on the response to the critical Drupal SQL injection flaw as organizations scramble to patch their systems. For daily cybersecurity briefings, subscribe to InfoSec Now to stay informed. Stay safe out there.